What's up, everybody? It's Thursday. It's been a while since I said to you guys, fuck wing night, but it's another wing night tonight. Haven't done a FaceTime with you guys in a while, so I figured I'd take and do that. Of course, another thing I haven't done in a while is I haven't done any video games in a very, very long while. I know that a lot of you guys are subscribed to me for video games, and forgive me, I'll get back to that as soon as I can, but there's not a lot of time in the day to do that kind of stuff. But anyway, figured I'd take and do a little bit here on some of the things I dislike about my 87 300CX. Now I'm going to try to get 10 things into this, but the real question is whether I'll be able to, seeing as how this is unscripted. I really didn't think about this a whole lot. This is just on the fly, driving to work, of course, seeing as I said it's wing night. So I guess I'll just start off with number one. One of the most annoying things about this car that I've come and play with is the lights on the radio. The original radio on it, the lights had backlit illumination, but they were all analog type lettering numbers on it, which made it very difficult to see at night. So you can't see anything on there at all. You can't read the temperature, you can't read what the temperature is set at, you can't read what the radio's set at, none of that shit. So that's very annoying. Number two I'm going to have to go with, as since we're in that area of the interface, which is set up for both passenger and driver, I'm going to have to say the climate control in this car. Now, this car actually had climate control back in the 80s, which is quite amazing, but the problem with the climate control from the 80s is you can't control anything. The only thing you can really control is on, off, high, low, recirculate, and the auto function, you know, economy, AC, that kind of stuff. Yeah, you can turn that all on and off, but you cannot control where it comes out at. You can't control whether it's coming out on the floor, on the windshield, in your face, or anywhere. It automatically just comes out at everything, and it really sucks. Along with that, it only goes to 60, and if you don't, in the summertime, it's not very pleasant to have 60-degree air being pumped in on your feet through the vents, because you cannot shut it off. So if you turn off the air, what happens is it automatically just takes and vents everything. So you're constantly getting airflow into the car. So even if you have the windows closed, you're still getting 60-degree temperature at its lowest on you, unless you have the AC on, which just sucks the fucking humidity out of the air and then makes it cooler that way. But other than that, yeah, it sucks. Number three, since we're still on the radio in that section, it was really cool that they had interfaces on your steering wheel and stuff like that for actually controlling your radio and cruise control and all that stuff back in the day, which some of the other Model Z's did not have it. Depending on the steering wheel and the trim model that you had, you didn't actually have this. But when you do have it, it's quite funny. The control for volume is linked between the analog volume on the radio and the analog scroll wheel that's on the steering wheel. Now what that means is when you take and you turn up your radio halfway on the stereo, that is the max low setting on your steering wheel. If you turn it up 3/4 of the way, where you actually can scroll it up to be at the volume where you can hear it while you're driving with the tops off and whatnot, it is way too loud. And even when you have your wheel down the whole way that controls it on the steering wheel, it doesn't turn off any of the sounds. So you actually have to turn off all sound on the stereo to get no sound on the lowest setting on the steering wheel itself. So I hope I said that right. There was a lot of stereo and steering going on there, but hope you get my point. It's annoying as shit. Let's see here. Lovely headlights. Everyone loves a good flip-up headlight. They're old school. A lot of people love them. Kids love looking at them. They're great. But if you turn on your headlights, the lids come up, the lights come on. If for some odd reason you want to turn out your headlights, the lights do not fall back down into place. Even if you take and hit the drop button that Nissan was so nice to give to us to lower the headlights and raise them when we're washing them, it will not lower the headlights. You actually have to turn off the running lights. Sorry about that. And then turn the running lights back on to keep your headlights down. It's straight annoying. Yes, there's a little clip I can, take and unplug underneath the steering wheel that will take it and stop the interaction between my lights and my switch from lifting them so I can run with my lights down. Do I really want to do that? Not really. No. I totally forgot already what fucking number I'm at. So, number 5, I'm gonna have to go with the drippage with the roof. When you have your roof on and you're running in the rain, there is no way to keep the rain out. All right, because of the slant of the roof, from the roof to the door panel itself, it actually just comes right in. Now, it is cool that if you only crack your window, it actually sucks all the rain right out. But other than that, it's straight annoying. That tied in with when the roof's wet and you go and you start moving, you end up, having rain run in because of the trim rails on the actual T-tops themselves. Usually doesn't happen to me. It usually happens to the passenger, so that's pretty cool in an aspect. It makes it real funny for me. Number 6, hood pops, hood latches, whatever you want to say, but when you pop your hood, apparently Nissan Datsun, the design was in the same era. The controversy of this car is the reason why a lot of people don't get this type of Z. And this is the bastard child of the Z family, is because the guy that designed the Z, so on and so forth, blah, 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 got canned from Nissan. So it was no longer Datsun, it changed to Nissan. That's the whole reason why this whole generation is pretty much omitted from all the history books. If you don't believe me, watch a history documentary on the Z, Fair Lady Z and stuff. You'll see there's not many of this year in it because of the fact that there was that whole controversy. But anyway, back to that. The hood pop on it. When you pull the hood latch, it takes and pops your hood, right? Well, in normal cars, there's a spring mechanism that actually pops your hood up for you. Not in this car. No, you actually have to take and stick your fingers in between the lights and the front nose cone and actually pop it up using your fingers. Now, if you have large fingers, this is annoying as fuck. Now, you can modify the car to actually pop up if you want to, but then again, if you're keeping it as a classic, then you don't want to do that. But that's straight annoying. Plus side, it has hydraulic lifts inside for the hood, so that makes it nice. Does it compensate for the fact that your hood doesn't pop up? I don't think so. We'll just go with 7. This is the elephant in the room here, or should I say the elephant in the car. This generation of Z has absolute horrible electrical problems with it. Everything from wiring to just switches and all that shit. It's pretty simple, cut and dry. Don't really have to say much about it. Number 8, we're gonna go straight to the big one that annoys me the most. Now, this is my fault. Now, normally the actual headers that came with the car are brick headers, and if you don't know what brick headers they are, they're basically cast iron, just bricks that wrap around the back side of the engine, go into a Y pipe, and then come out the back, down to the catalytic converter. With them, it's very easy to change your oil. But when you put on like racing headers and stuff like that, and or aftermarket headers, like I have equal length tubular headers on here, they make it virtually impossible to change your oil. So I guess this is my fault on this one. But the thing that bothers me the most isn't the fact that once you put the headers on, you can't reach under, as in like from the top, you can't reach up from the bottom, because there's not enough room between the starter and the headers for you to get your arm in there to twist off the oil filter. What the biggest problem is that the starter is underneath the oil filter. That is not cool at all. So basically, every time you pull your oil, you drop that filter, you're dumping whatever's in your oil filter down onto your starter, and it is straight annoying pain in the ass. I don't like it at all. Another thing that goes with the headers as well too is that it makes it virtually impossible to just drop your transmission like you would with other rear-wheel drives, where you just angle it down, slide it back, work on your shit and go. Because the header actually wraps around the bell housing slightly and makes it impossible to dislodge it from the engine. But that is not an issue. That's not what it's something that's annoying. That's anytime you take into a transmission or pull an engine and stuff, there's always little gremlins that are going to get in your way that are annoying. Number 9. Extremely long gearing. Makes it really hard to get good fuel. 19 to 24 gallons. Gallons. Now 19 to 24 miles to the gallon is not the most friendly. Now you can get more or less depending on what you're running, how you're driving, whether you're on the highway, for long periods of time. It's not bad, but it's definitely not fun on the wallet. Number 10, I'm gonna have to go with being the lack of parts. The lack of parts isn't just as in like a following in the high performance world. I'm talking about lack of parts, period. Finding like replacement parts such as alternators, radiators, anything that you just want to get that would be stock. Something as simple as, I don't know, an oil pan is not an easy feat. Flywheel took me about a month to get. Just parts are very hard to come by, and when you actually do find a place that actually carries the parts, like say Advanced Auto, they ship them from the warehouse or something like that you would get, alternators, little pieces that are constantly the big gremlins in everyone's car. You get them, and you don't know how long they've actually been sitting on the shelf. So they get beaten around. Most of the time you get parts for the car and they're damaged because they fell off of shelves, they got beat around, they got moved so many times, or they've been sitting there literally for over 20 years, you know what I mean? So getting parts is not fun for this car. Now if you want to go aftermarket, it's not really that bad, except for if you have a naturally aspirated model, because even though everything's pretty much interchangeable, you still don't know if the little bells and whistles will be off. So you want to make sure that you get that kind of stuff as it's supposed to be, so you can plug and play. But everything following for this, the VGs, is for turbo application. So it is a little pain in the ass to get. But it is a VG, so the VGs were used the whole way up through the next generation as well too. They're not a bad engine. They're just old. So other than that, I mean, that's as of right now, those are the things I can think of on the fly while I'm sitting here just driving to work. So I'm gonna have to say guys can think of anything on the 300ZX that you absolutely hate. And it's not just this model. Like I said, it could be like, if you're talking about engines and stuff, it could be all the models up until the change where they started to try to bring back the Fair Lady as the 350 and stuff like that. It could be anything. Just comment down below, let me know, because I know that there's more stuff that I haven't said that I'm just not thinking about right now, because there's hundreds of things that I dislike about this car. But much like everyone else's car, there's always more stuff that balances out the negatives, that makes it enjoyable to drive. So next time I'll make sure that I do the things I like about my car. So until next time, y'all have a good one, and I'll see you in the grind.